Hello, everyone. How's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's play some Death Stranding, shall we? Well, we've got to help get Port Knot City back on the old chiral network, and we'll do that in a moment. First, I've been hearing something about, using the toilet, so I want to try. Because I hear there's something that happens when you do. And here it comes. Oh, look. There's a whole motorcycle show, apparently starring Norman Reedus. Well, there's an advertisement for a show for Sam Death Stranding. It's great. Okay. So we need to get Port Knot City online, but I also have received some mail. So I got some email here from Nick Easton, and it says, "There's a weird glowing object in Capital Knot City. Hey Sam, you heard the latest rumors out of Capital Knot City? People have been seeing some kind of weird glowing thing up on the rooftops near the isolation ward. Seems it's a Ka, the part of the human that doesn't turn into a BT." Oh my goodness. So there's another thing. So there's something called a Ka, which is a part of a human that when the corpse necrotizes and becomes a BT, doesn't become a BT. That's what people are saying anyway. Apparently, they were a common sight back in the old days, back before the Stranding. I mean, story goes that they were lost souls wandering around. Look at that emoji from him. One of my pals tried to take me to get a closer look to see what's what, but he couldn't find anything. I'm sure you could do better if you put your mind to it, though, right? Oh, yeah. And then Benjamin Hancock says, oh, it's this guy. Thanks for delivering those rail medals, Sam. Even everyone at the distro center really appreciates you coming through for us. Thumbs up. I'm afraid I got some bad news for you, though. The bike you saw outside, its battery's dead. Oh, I was hoping to ride it. You'll have to give it some juice if you want to use it. Only need to do it once, though. Auto charger should kick in. Sorry if we got your hopes up, and I've got some more bad news, too. Crying emoji. You see, different facilities have to work together, sharing materials so everyone gets what they need and make sure that everything that's produced gets put to proper use. That's why guys like you are so important. Without porters, the whole system falls apart. Whole world, even. Anyway, there's this guy, George Baton, over at the way station. Yep, we've worked together. He used to be a reliable porter, but lately it's like pulling teeth getting him to make even the simplest delivery. Keeps bitching about being scared or not having enough oxy or whatever. Always some excuse. Even when he does agree to make a run, he's liable to lose half his load en route. So that's why we're a bit short on materials. I'm sure you'll help us out, though. Okay. So he's not at all, and I mean at all, throwing anyone under the bus from the material shortage. And George Baton says, way station west of Capital City, more than oxy. Sam the man, our savior. I just heard something about you, George. It was good news. Smiley face. Things are looking up here at the way station. Everything feels better somehow. We were all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed when we set ourselves up, but 3 years of isolation and loneliness will change anyone's tune. Hell, when we first got here, we were putting up signs for porters and whatnot, but after a while, some guys got too scared to even set foot outside. I heard that might be you? When Central went up, I told myself this was it. America's done. Everyone was feeling it too, and the mood was just bleak. And then you just waltzed on in. Yeah, I do waltz. I know what you're thinking at first. I thought it was just the oxytocin too, but that's not it. Not all of it, anyhow. You gave us the glimmer of hope. Wait. We needed to bring us into the chiral network. We're back in the game now. Been thinking of putting up signs again, even. Watchtowers, too. Before long, we'll be opening up new delivery routes. Mark my words. It's still scary out there, though, and all the oxy in the world won't help us deal with mules, let alone BTs. We crap ourselves every time we catch sight of one and end up dropping half our equipment. Honestly, a part of me is still a little worried that we won't be able to keep it up. And that's why we need you. You're not scared of anything, so show us how it's done. Okay, so he's saying, like, the reason that they weren't getting things done is because they were all depressed and demoralized because they weren't part of the network. But now that's going to change. So Benjamin Hancock, eat your words. Hopefully, we got some data. We got some gameplay tips. Okay. Right, so now we could see like all of the control tutorials that we've ever gotten. And here are some interviews, okay? So we see some... I mean, look at this. There's Die Hardman, there's Deadman, there's Hartman. It's a lot. But this will give us some story. So this is Mules and Drone Syndrome. Okay. Bridge's primary objective is to rebuild America. And in order to rebuild, one of our main tasks is to reconnect cities and other settlements by reestablishing a delivery network. Back before the Death Stranding, the comms and delivery networks were what held society together. The whole thing was automated, AI-managed deliveries carried out by drone. The belief was that taking people out of the equation would revolutionize the entire system, but things didn't quite pan out that way. Instead, we started seeing cases of what would eventually be dubbed, quote, drone syndrome. It was too much for some folks to accept, leaving everything to machines and nothing for the common man. And indeed, the oxytocin deficiency and hormonal imbalances were confirmed, we confirmed, seemed to back up that assessment, okay? Drone syndrome. Humanity needed to be part of the process, so laws were put in place and we stepped back into the picture. And then what happened? All the people put out of work by machines who got called up again convinced themselves society couldn't survive without them, and that brought a whole new disorder. Delivery dependence syndrome, they called it. Delivery dependence syndrome. So that means they need to be delivering. So this is interesting because now we're having a conversation about automation and the kind of removal of labor from the labor force. So this is always a fascinating conversation to have, when you talk about technology, because the suggestion is that people need to work and that they're going to be upset when they're displaced from their job by a machine. And I can sort of understand that if you get your identity from your job. And that's, in my opinion, entirely problematic unless you love what you do and that's what you want to be doing. But, if you get a job that you just do so that you can pay your bills, calling it your identity seems a little far-fetched. And also to kind of grossly oversimplify the human individual. But beyond that, I mean, if you think about the story of the Garden of Eden, one of the punishments for getting expelled from the garden for eating of the tree of forbidden knowledge and the knowledge of good and evil was that we'd have to work for food by the sweat of our brow. Basically, we would, get sustenance. And that was the punishment. And now the suggestion is if technology can actually do the labor for us, somehow that's bad. Like, we want to be working. I don't know where we got tricked into that. And, there's other work that we can do. But it's interesting to suggest, like, I personally, if I could do whatever I wanted and technology would take care of, everything for me in terms of, like, providing me with food and shelter and the basic needs for life, I would enjoy just being a person of leisure and doing whatever I wanted and not working. Like, I would be fine with that. But I would actually prefer it to, going to work against my will. But this suggestion that people are upset when they get displaced, like, I would understand if it meant that you were living in squalor because you had no money. But I thought the suggestion here in this world was that all of your needs are taken care of. There's no need for money at all anymore. In fact, I don't see money in this game. The only currency seems to be vital statistics and social media presence. And there isn't, like, I'm not getting paid for this, right? So if you take out capitalism, why... It's curious, right, to suggest psychologically, like, maybe there's some hangers-on to people who are grandfathered into capitalism, who are used to that system, but people born post-capitalism, would they, post-economy, like, would they care about being displaced by machines? It's a good question, but they did say that, like, somehow the drone syndrome started, and then now people, like, want to keep doing their job. So anyway, it's just a fun conversation to have, and the game, as good science fiction does, is having it. And it's a fascinating revelation to discover that, you know, like, I understand Frankel and, man's search for meaning and having a purpose. Like, I get all of that. That totally makes sense to me. But I feel like at least some people, myself included, could derive a purpose exclusive of labor, for money. Like, I could do things to be useful or give me purpose. It might not pay, but that, machines couldn't do necessarily. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. Just something to think about. Okay, so it says, when the Death Stranding tore us apart, the delivery problem spiraled even further. It wasn't helped any by the fact that chiral clouds prevented planes and drones from flying, which meant we had to go back to relying completely on human couriers, whether we liked it or not. Okay, so the chiral clouds are the explanation for why drones can't operate and planes can't go around. Eventually, which is also kind of bizarre, like, how can humans be safe in a chiral cloud? Is it only people with dooms that are safe? Is it, like, toxic or hazardous to everyone else? I don't know. Eventually, delivering goods became some sort of something people lived for. They were obsessed, addicted, consumed by the desire to deliver. Over time, they turned into mules we know and love today. I don't think we love them. So basically, you're saying that, like, this was an adrenaline rush for people, so people are adrenaline junkies for delivering things through the chiral clouds, and they want to, like, get that thrill again, and when that thrill departed, they decided to just attack other delivery people to fulfill that addiction. So it's an addiction problem, interesting. Okay. So there's that. It also makes you wonder, like, we should bore through the ground. We should build those, like, like Elon Musk, like, tunnels under the ground, the pneumatic transportation systems, unless the chiral clouds go underground. Bridge babies. Here we go. So this is some more explanation about BBs. And this is really good because I want all of this explanation to really try and get a sense of what's going on. Look, I'm kind of new here at Bridges, so I don't know. And this is from Deadman, so he's going to, like, pretend like he doesn't know. So I don't know if any of this will be helpful. Still, I'm happy to talk to you about BBs if that's what you want. They call me Deadman on account of my familiarity with the dead. Get it? We always been on good terms, you see. Used to have regular little chats when I worked in the morgue. Ah, this explains it. So he is a doctor, but he's a mortician previously. So this explains his, like, kind of macabre and terrifying relationship to the dead. Anyway, that's the reason I work on BB maintenance and research, to learn more about those who are no longer with us. But I digress. Fact is, BBs were already being issued to our forces in the field before I joined Bridges. What's more, research into the little guys had already been conducted long ago, but no one took the plunge and put what they discovered to practical use. Still, what that did mean is that when Bridges wanted to build our own BBs, most of the work had already been done for us. I mean, how long had this been happening? We just needed to follow the instruction manual, so to speak, which isn't to say that we have any idea how they work. Not how they can detect BTs, nor how they can connect this world to the other side. We still have much to learn about our little friends, but one thing is certain. Their continued study will lead us to a greater understanding of the Stranding and of life and death itself. That much I can assure you. Well, I think that's about all I have to tell you today. Hopefully I'll have something new to share next time we chew the fat. See you around, I guess. Okay. So that was his explanation of BBs, which is that we don't know how they work and they used to already be in existence, so we just follow the manual but don't understand the inner workings. Okay. So this is Heartman. So this guy is different from Hardman. And this is somebody who wants to tell me about Timefall. and he's in the Bridges HQ lab. Timefall was first recorded when the Death Stranding occurred, and despite all these years that have passed since then, we're no closer to understanding how or why it accelerates the passage of time for the objects and organisms it touches, or why it immediately turns to ordinary water having done so. Some researchers have gone so far as to posit this process as stealing time. As for why timefall is observed only in certain places, all that we know for certain is it's somehow affected by local chiral connections. This is merely a hunch, but something in me suspects that Death Stranding may have warped our perception of the passage of time. Wow, okay. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, you understand. We humans can conceive of our own deaths and even the possibility of a place beyond death. Yes, we have the capacity to conceptualize the future, an evolutionary advantage which aided our development as a species. Well, what if the timefall has given us a new, supercharged version of this essential ability, one that will take us to the next stage of our evolution? Perhaps we wouldn't need to hole ourselves up in the knot cities. Perhaps in time, the Death Stranding will come to be seen as the phenomenon that saved our species. Exciting thoughts, I'm sure you'll agree. I, for one, can't wait to set out on our journey. Who knows what awaits us? Now, this I don't really get. And I'm probably not meant to get it, but how would timefall be better than our ability to predict the future? You mean it's actually showing us the future, but you're saying it's a change in perception and not really reality, so it's like just a perception change, or our minds have slowed down and the timefall is the real passage of time? It seems hard to make a statement that it's a perception thing when the stuff that I'm carrying actually gets damaged. Like, it's not perception that objective material, we all agree, has been deteriorated, as if the passage of time has happened, unless it's a collective hallucination, which is something else. Go back to that. Egyptian mummies. Okay, what is this? At what point can it be said that man truly understood what it meant to die? It would seem reasonable to suggest that it was when he began to bury his dead, a practice which originated with the Neanderthals. In one way, one might say that our growing understanding of death drove our development as a species. Our fear of it, our attempts to conquer it. Why, it could be argued our entire history revolves around these obsessions. Maybe. I think we were more interested in using knowledge of science to ensure our survival, which is, I guess, a way to conquer death, but really it's a way to just, like, make life comfortable and survive. But yeah, people are doing those things too, sure. Take the Great Pyramids of Egypt or the tombs of the ancient emperors in China. The more powerful the person, the bigger and grander their final resting place. Or to posit a more radical theory, could the very concepts of power and society themselves have emerged solely to facilitate the creation of such monuments, such challenges to the finality of death? Now, that would be pretty preposterous. Like, I'm just gathering enough wealth and providing wealth to people around me to facilitate the construction of a great tomb. That, it seems more symptomatic like a byproduct as opposed to the principal cause. But this guy seems to enjoy kind of batty conspiracy theories, so we'll just run with this. The mummies of the Egyptians are another means by which man sought to fulfill the desire to escape the finality of death. They were created that the spiritual self, the Ka, would have a physical vessel, or Ha, to which it could return. Now we're seeing a connection. The Ka, the spiritual self, which is the soul, I guess, in Egyptian terminology that we talked about with the BTs. So we're kind of like viewing the BTs through the lexicon and ideology and theology, perhaps, of ancient Egyptians. The Soku Shinbutsu, or mummified monks of Buddhism, are similar in this respect. However, the monks in question aimed to transition straight from life to Buddhahood, in other words, to forego death altogether. But now the beach has brought us into direct contact with the world beyond. Our relationship with death must further evolve. The next stage in our understanding is upon us. So basically what we're saying here is, I mean, not so subtly, the beach is a metaphor, right? A transition between worlds. So there's us on the land, okay, which is the living. And then the ocean is the dead, which the ocean has been referred to as this prior. We might think of it like, some people call the depths of the ocean the depths of the unconscious, like it's the subconscious or the unconscious of human existence, which could also just be, related to death. And then the beach is that intersection where the water of the world of the dead or the unconscious or whatever intersects with the land of the living. And that makes sense. And of course, Sam intersects with the dead and the living in the dream world, which, if we borrow the ocean metaphor, I think Freud was into this, the ocean metaphor as the unconscious, then it's overlapping with the dead. Like, you go to the beach to see dead people, which is, Sam's having these nightmares. He's got the dream catcher. He interacts with Amelie, presumably in dreams, which is a connection through the beach or maybe related to the living and the dead. So we're kind of like displaying this transition. And in true Kojima fashion, in terms of the storytelling, we are just letting these ideas bleed into each other and overlap so that the distinction becomes less and less clear. Let's see what the corals of the seam. Life began in the oceans, and as it evolved, it graduated to the land. At least this is what we believed until recently. To creatures of the sea, the land is a harsh and unforgiving place. Given this, what could possibly have compelled these organisms to make such a drastic transition? Consider that fossils of the first fish to adapt themselves to land have been found in regions with unusually large tidal range. Could it be that these creatures developed legs in order to more swiftly return to the safety of the sea when stranded? I mean, interesting, right? Again, the word stranded, stranding, the beach, like, you see all the dead sea creatures in the imagery of the beach, like where they tried to get back to the ocean, where they left on the shore, and they are from the land of the dead, and then the water brought them to the land, and the land has presented death for them, but the land is life for us, whereas the sea is death for us, just kind of flipping the perspective. Could their evolutionary leap have been triggered by this traumatic experience? If so, could similar circumstances have shaped the evolution of the coral-like organisms that inhabit the seam and driven them to develop an ability to live between life and death, between time and timelessness? Coral is, after all, older than any organism of the land and hardly hardy enough to have weathered the mass extinction of 540 million years ago, and it's a life form upon which many other organisms rely for survival. Bearing all this in mind, one could argue that the ability to survive in the seam is indicative of a profound evolutionary leap. Now, I'm not sure what the seam is. Is the seam the same as the beach? Or is it like further in the water than the beach? I don't know. Cryptobites. Now, this is from Fragile, who we haven't seen in a while, and it's from 2 years ago. In Fragile, and it was done in Fragile Express headquarters. We call these bugs cryptobiotes. I keep calling them cryptobites and just taking out that O, and that's just my own fault. Cryptobiotes. They were recorded in reference books and databases back before the Death Stranding, but nobody ever thought to give them a proper classification. So cryptobiotes they stayed. They're named for the process of cryptobiosis, which means hidden life. When environmental conditions get too harsh or resources too scarce, cryptobiotes can shut down their metabolic processes and enter an almost death-like state in order to survive. Tardigrades and sleeping chironomids are capable of this too, but cryptobiotes are on a whole other level. They can survive anything and anywhere, even on the beach or in the seam. So I think in the seam seems to imply that it's in water. And they aren't capable of prolonging only their own lives. Humans who eat them are acquired a limited resistance to timefall, too. Okay, you won't find them lying around just anywhere, though. You need to know where to look. Not many people even knew they existed until recently, so next to no research has been done, but now that their beneficial properties have been recognized, I'm willing to bet they play an important role in helping us to understand the beach, the Death Stranding, and everything else. Okay, so these are bugs that I think that might be the word for them. I don't know if they're mollusks, bugs, whatever you want to call them. And they hibernate, but to an extreme extent, I suppose. Memory chips. What did we get? We got frame arms. What does this mean? Oh, look. It's some kind of mech. Frame Arms was a series of original plastic robot figurines created by Koto Bokiya, one of Japan's premier manufacturers of plastic models. Each robot shares the same basic frame architecture, with different external parts being attached to create an individual mechanoid, like Voltron. The Byako White Tiger figure is a rare masterpiece based on one of Yuri Shinkawa's designs. The fully realized world and captivating story behind the Frame Arms series won it many dedicated fans. Okay, so now we're just going to find like random stuff. Fantastic. What else did I get? Oh, there's more data. Oh, there's more tips. That's fine. I'm going to leave those tips for now, and I'm going to leave. And we got some likes from them for reading their emails, I guess. And I'm going to kind of just... we're going to leave the private room. Now, I want to power up the motorcycle. That's like #1 priority. But I don't know if I'm able to do that right now. Oh.
This isn't what we agreed on. You said you'd do everything in your power to save BB.
We are. But we cannot release your son just yet. Believe me when I tell you it's for the best.
Is that Amelie talking to him?
Done nothing but lie to me.
Uh-oh. It sounded like her, or Lindsay. Or Bridget, rather. I don't know. It doesn't sound good.
Beginning scan. Scanning Bridget's ID. Verifying ID.
Sam, there's something I forgot to tell you. It's about managing your BB's stress levels and reducing the risk of autotoxemic attacks.
Okay.
There are a few things you can do if your BB starts showing signs of distress.
Such as?
Such as take a moment to look after it. Cradle the pot, gently rock it, that sort of thing.
Hilarious.
Out of curiosity.
Take care of the baby.
How's it doing at the moment?
Before I answer that,
Something wrong?
when I hook up my BB, I see things.
What kind of things?
Like a face, someone I don't know, calling to me. There's this room, too, with other people talking, but I can't make out the words.
Lead-through effect. Didn't I warn you about this? You're mistaking the BB's memories for your own. They're false flashbacks, nothing more. Let me explain. A BB is harvested from its steel mother at around 28 weeks and placed in a pod. To be clear, this is before it's even born. The procedure halts its development. But even at 28 weeks, its sensory systems have matured enough to process external stimuli. It is more than capable of encoding this information into memories, which can bleed into yours via your connection.
So who's the man I saw?
Someone from the medical team, maybe? Or a BB technician? Does it matter? The BB has been in circulation for a while now. It's been handled by a lot of people. How should I know which one made an impression?
'Cause you're the expert.
No one's an expert, Sam. BBs were developed decades ago in secret. They're your quintessential black boxes. We may use them, but we don't truly understand them. Believe me, I've been trying to learn more, but almost all of the old records are gone. If I find anything out, I'll tell you, all right? Dead man's honor.
Yeah, I completely trust him. So I can soothe the BB by LB down, and then I'm looking at it, and then I can push X to soothe it, and then we use the left stick to rock it back and forth. It looks perfectly happy. Oh my goodness. So I am holding a baby that is a 7-month-old Arrested Development child.
Sam, check the delivery terminal and review the list of orders.
Yeah. All right. I like how he's like, oh, it's been in circulation for a while now. I thought they only lasted for a year. You know what I mean? Like, the list should be pretty short for what we're talking about here, right? What do I have on my back? I need to dump all this stuff. I have too much stuff. I thought I delivered this. Activate the terminal. Oh, are these materials? Are these like the resins? Oh.
Network diagnostics.
Okay.
Beryllium monitoring and holographic systems are nominal. Unfortunately, our printer is offline. I know. After all the trouble you went through to bring us those materials. This one's on us. We ordered a part a while back, but it never arrived. The printer needs it to communicate with the chiral network. Mules must have snatched it, caught that porter en route or something. If I'm right, they'll have taken it to their drop site, which is smack dab in the middle of their territory. Don't suppose you'd be up for stealing us our property back? Can't think of anyone more qualified than you.
I mean, I'm down to do that, but this place is like, yeah, we don't have this, we don't have that. Okay, fine. All right. Now, one thing I want to do is I can take on an order, and there's chiral crystals, but I don't know how to do this yet because I don't have... I mean, I can do it, but you need some kind of special tool to pick up the crystals, right? Unless, did they give it to me? I mean, sure, I'll select it, and then I'll do your printer thing, too. Alright, fine.
Mama's added a watchtower schematic to your PCC.
Mama?
If you don't have it on you, consider
Oh, that's
fabricating
right.
one. You never know when you'll need to recon an area.
Thanks. Alright, so now I can make a watchtower. And load all on my back. And then we're going to auto-arrange. Okay. And then I'm going to... confirm. Now, the stuff I have on my back is like metals and resins. And so I was told basically...
That thing you're holding is a crystal
There we go. I got the
collector.
crystal collector.
As the name suggests, it provides secure storage for any crystals you gather.
Allow me to describe your quarry.
So this is Heartman.
Crystals appear gold to the naked eye and are frequently found in formations resembling human handprints.
BT hands.
Surrounding rocks and debris tend to float a few feet above the ground. And they are most commonly found in areas with high precipitation. Got all that? Rain, floating rocks, golden handprints. That's your trifecta. Look for these three things and you'll find the crystals.
Okay.
If you've been especially observant, then perhaps you already know where to look.
I have been observant. Alright, so I have to say, the bleed-through effect that was mentioned about the BB
Begin and scan. Have a pleasant journey.
is pretty much, Oh, I pushed the wrong button. The bleed-through effect is pretty much the whole game. Like, everything is bleed-through effect. Every term that the game uses. Now, there's the bike, but what I can do is I can find a structure that somebody has made and use the resins to upgrade it from what I'm getting. So let me see what this needs. It needs, like, a charge, right?
Weapons restrictions lifted.
And I can open the cargo menu. No, that's not what I want to do. Can I interact with this vehicle? No. It says X. Alright, so I can't... It needs a charge, and I can't do that right now. But in the meantime, what I can do, though, is, like, move this way. There's resins...
Pretty small and can be difficult to spot with the naked eye. I'd advise you to use your ultra deck to point you in the right direction. If you want to survey a wider area, though, you might consider building a watchtower and relying on its sensors.
Yeah, I'll build a watchtower, alright. Okay, fine. Watchtower, where is it? I don't know if I actually have it. Oh, change page. Are these all the same? These let you build anything? I'm going to put one down, but I don't know if I want to put it down, like, so close to the base. I'm going to walk over here. I'm going to put it... It's raining. There's crystals right there, by the way. So I'm going to get some, but first I'm going to try to build a watchtower. So,
Just a bit further north.
And then we're going to put it here. I don't want to post us. Oh, yeah, watchtower. Yeah, build this. Right trigger. Throw it down.
Now then.
There it goes. So I'm building my own watchtower here. It's got a timer on it. I'm going to pick up these crystals. Alright. And the number of crystals in your possession is displayed at the bottom in your cufflinks map. Your blood level, stress level, stamina are also displayed here. Okay. So I can see it down there. I have 56 crystals. Alright, now I'm going to use my structure here. And I'm going to use my watchtower. Oh, actually, this isn't what I really meant to do. I'm going to go to the structure menu. Is that where it is? Structure menu. No. Maybe I pushed the wrong button. Is it hold start to get there? Yeah. Okay, you gotta hold start. And then we get to the structure builder. Now I can upgrade the structure. And just give it, like... I'm going to give it all my stuff because I'm just carrying around too much junk, right? So I'm going to just do this and, you know, try to, like... No. I want to... I don't think it needs anything but... It just needs resin and metal, right? So I'm going to give it a bunch of stuff. Okay. So now, this structure is like almost
Just so you know,
level
Sam,
2.
Distro centers and the like are stocked with materials you can use to fabricate equipment. You can also take what you need to build structures. That
Yes.
said, there are limits to what each facility can spare.
Okay.
Check their terminals to see what they are.
Alright. So you can claim materials from facilities. Okay. So I could go get some more to, like, upgrade this tower if I really wanted to, right? Which is cool. And so now we've built a tower, we got the crystals, and we learned a lot of story. I need to go retrieve the chiral printer interface from the mule post box. That's my other mission. And maybe go back to the base and try to upgrade what I've got. And we'll get into that next time. There's just so much story that I need to unpack and digest, but I love the fact that we're even getting some more information on it and that we get to just entertain sci-fi concepts and theories and see how the Kojima bleed-through effect basically messes with the storytelling and comprehension in a surreal fashion throughout getting this game and trying to make sense of the story, but also having a great time with it all the while. Everyone, thank you so much for all of your comments. Members and patrons, thank you for choosing this for the November Members' Choice. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your support. And everyone, I hope you have an excellent evening or day. Take care.